And we're back. Now, we were talking still about this Marissa Mayer acquisition in the break, and Devin had a point that I thought was very astute and very inside thinking in terms of how this thing plays out. He was talking about that he doesn't believe that acquiring talent is the only reason to spend $30 million. Go ahead, Devin, and say exactly what you were thinking.
Yeah, what I was really thinking is that for $30 million, she must have been looking at the company with other assets other than personnel, because she could have been able to go in and, get the team that she liked from that company without spending $30 million.
Right.
As a matter of fact, it would be actually risky to spend $30 million on a team when those people can come over and then find another job and don't produce.
Right.
So I think there's much more to it. Plus, what she could have done easily to get the team she wanted was to hit the key person over in that company.
Right.
Offer them a signing bonus of $5 million, some number, some really attractive number, and say, get me a team. Talk to your people, whoever you think are the key people over there. Out of that $5 million, or I'll give you another $2 million to give them signing bonus, and bring them in, and we'll sign them as of July 1st. They'll be employees of Yahoo. Tell them it's a signed, sealed, delivered deal. $7 million. That's all she would have needed to spend, rather than $30 million. So I don't believe it's all about human assets. I really believe that the company has some gems, some important stuff that's
and the technology they're working on can be adapted.
And she might have liked the personnel that went with it. So she said, you know something, I'm going to hire buy the company, and so I'll get that team coming over, plus the assets in terms of technology or whatever they have. And so I killed several birds.
And that makes perfect sense. I mean, because I didn't even think about it from that angle. And we're going to see, as obviously the months roll on, how it plays out, and how these new acquisitions, for what they brought to the table, how Yahoo envelops that technology into their system going forward, and what products they can produce based on that. And speaking of products, Jony Ives is the man over at Apple, and he's the one who redesigned the iOS 7, redesigned the whole operating system, making it look more colorful, making it look cleaner, making it just look fresher, and now he's leading Apple's I.watch push. And we're going to show you a picture right here of this new Apple I.watch, kind of what it's going to look like. And there is one thing that he says is stopping his progress, and that is battery life. Now, they were trying to get this thing out by June, but according to Jony Ives, he said that Apple seeks to introduce the device as soon as this year, according to a report that he gave to Bloomberg, who also states that Ives is rallying his team of more than 100 engineers around the project, the iWatch project, having previously bought boxes of Nike sport watches for his team to deconstruct and improve upon. And the iWatch is also now said to be running a reworking of the full iOS software, and not just a piecemeal collection of features that would work alongside the iPhone or iPad, making its potential very powerful if it's going to run the full operating system. Now, they said, for starters, there are definitely some problems that the iWatch have to look out for. For starters, there appears to be problems with the battery levels. I said that he is aiming for a battery life that lasts between 4 and 5 days from a single charge. But the report states that the prototype so far can only manage 2 days. And that's not to say that that would prevent shipping. It'll be a classic Apple move to sell a boatload of iWatches with poor battery on the back of the inevitable hype generated, and then follow it up with a vastly improved second generation version a year later with greater battery capacity. Apple, that sounds like they're thinking. They know that they have these followers. They know that people are going to buy, and so it wouldn't be beyond them, in my thinking, to say, you know what, let's release this iWatch with only 2 days. And then next year, they bust out a 4, and everyone is like, whoa. man, Apple has done it again. And then that's how they get people to continually buy these things. So, with greater battery capacity. Now, according to flexible willow glass maker Corning, because these are the people they're using for the glass on the iWatch, they say it'll be unlikely that Apple would be using an advanced flexible display anytime soon either. If it were to see the iWatch land this year, a curved glass panel may feature, but not only full glass wrap around the wrist model. Now, with the suggestion that a full version iOS is to be included in the iWatch, albeit modified to fit the new form factor, it's also likely that a new version of iOS for iPads, iPods, and iPhones would be needed to accommodate this new iOS built for the iWatch. With iOS 7 expected to land this summer around this month or in July or so, could the iWatch make its debut? We don't know. But here's a picture. We're going to show you a picture of this iWatch that Jony Ives and the brains at Apple are coming up with. Now, do you think, Devin, that this iWatch, do you think this is going to be the next big thing for Apple? Because, like I say, it's quite possible, in my opinion. This is the iWatch right here for those of you that are looking. This is what that baby looks like. There you go. Let me just show you. It's obviously it's a digital display right here, and this is the classic I button right there. And maybe you can't see it right in here. There's the Apple insignia right in here. Now, Devin, you're looking at this watch right here. Do you think this thing is, who is something like this geared towards? Is it the business professional? Is it the casual person? And do you see Apple releasing this thing with the 2-day battery life and then next year bumping it up? Because that's what it looks like to me. It looks like they could quite possibly do that. Because that's how Apple does it. They come out with something now, and then next year they tweak a few features, and everyone is like, oh, Apple, they've done it again. How do you see the iWatch going? First, who do you think is going to be the market for this right here? I don't know if I see too many guys with this. This looks like a bracelet, like a bangle.
I don't care. This is from Apple, you said?
Yeah, it's the Apple.
I don't care who. I just, the design is really nice.
Do you see guys wearing that?
Yeah, I do see guys wearing that. Certain kind of guys will wear that, and the Metro Man will wear that. Those guys who are very fashion conscious. They think they are fashionistas. You know, but the price will be prohibitive for most people, I think.
Right. Because it's not coming out under $100 or anything like that.
No, it
this
won't.
Thing is gonna be...
it's not a bad design, though. I see guys wearing it. I was kidding a little bit, but
right.
I see potentially guys
some
wearing
uses.
it. Yeah, I do.
But is this going to be Apple's next big project?
No.
Their next... The thing that now, just like how the iPhone was when they came out and it was just droves of people with the iPhone. Do you see this as like, whoa?
If you ask me... they're probably gonna make a lot of money from it, and that's why they're pushing it. Because Apple is not about mass market per se; they're about margin. Most people don't really know that. That Apple is very much about margin.
Right.
So
that's true.
No, I don't see.
They sell less apps than does Google, but yet they make more money. You see, because their apps are more expensive. So this iWatch, project that they have, I see it as something that the fanboys are going to definitely jump on board. The people that's loyal to Apple, definitely they're going to jump on board. It depends on the functionality. If this thing is just a watch, then, you're not really going to get too much. But if this, because how it looks, the screen, it looks like it looks like a beautiful piece of hardware. The only thing is, it's shaped more like a bangle than a... So at first glance, people might wonder, well, what is that you have on your wrist? You know what I'm saying? So I would have to see it on somebody, because it's one thing to look at it bare like this, as opposed to looking at it on a wrist. You know, so I'd have to see it on somebody before I can really make a judgment as to who the audience really is. But if this thing is functional in terms of with the screen that it has, it can show you faces. It can show you the names of who's calling you. It can show you text messages easily. It can show you emails. I mean, so without me having to check my phone, if this thing can tether to my phone via Bluetooth and stuff like that, and somebody calls me, and I can just look at it and see it says John or whatever, and then press, and then it answers the phone, and I can talk either through the watch or with my Bluetooth headset. I can talk, hey, what's going on, man? You know, I think that rather than having to have the phone in my hand, I can just put the phone in my case, and then with the watch now, I can just do stuff like that. Definitely, I see this thing as something that could catch on, you know, and it's not a gadget that you have to have that's going to take up extra pocket space. That's the one thing, because if it's another tablet or it's another thing that's going to take up extra space, then I don't see this thing really doing that well. But because it's a watch, it's on my wrist, so right away it's out of the way. And so I'm connecting wirelessly Bluetooth to my phone. So I would have to see the functionality of it. Price point, you already know Apple is exclusive. Apple is expensive, you know, so look for this to be $399, $299. I mean, I'm already expecting that, so that's not an issue for me. But my thought is the functionality of it, how Apple can really make it functional and not make it gimmicky. If they can do that, then I can, and then looking at it on an actual wrist to see how it looks and stuff like that, they might have something here. Is it going to be the next Apple craze? It's hard to say, because Apple has jump-started things that people would not have thought Apple would have done. When Apple came up with the iPhone, nobody thought that was going to be some, you know, iPhone or Apple phone. Who's going to buy that? That's what people were thinking back in those days. Well, who's going to buy an Apple phone? You know, but look at them now. You know, when Apple busted out in the tablet market, when they came up with their iPad, who's going to buy a tablet? I mean, and they only came in that one size, and, you know, who's going to buy that? But look at iPad. So I'm saying that Apple has a way of turning seemingly insignificant or products that other people have done and haven't really done well. They have a way of turning that into big success. So we just kind of have to wait and see what Apple does as far as this iWatch, how they do it, how they market it, the functionality of it, and can they get that battery life more than 2 days? I see them coming out with this thing with a 2-day battery life and then upgrading it next year. I totally see that. I just need to see when they announce this release what functionality it's going to have. All right, coming up after the break, Oculus Rift gets that $16 million in funding, and Google Chrome, the Chromebook, is said to be hitting more retailers. What is Google trying to do? Does that mean the Chromebook is a massive success, or is this Google just pushing it? We're going to talk about that, all that and more, coming up after the break on Tech Pulse.